All right, so we are ready to go live.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope everyone is having a blessed Ramzan. We are once again back with Chats with Purpose, a series of conversations that has started last year to discuss the future of everything, especially to help our audience find answers to questions that started troubling them ever since the pandemic started. And now, as the pandemic affects our lives even more deeply than before, we need more conversations like these to keep the dialogue running. So, in that regard, and without much ado, I would like to introduce our honorable guest for the evening, Mr. Salman Sarwar to share his insights on the present and future of retail banking opportunities in Pakistan. So, before we start with the conversation, I would just like to introduce Mr. Salman Sarwar in a few career highlights. So, Mr. Salman brings with him over 20 years of rich and diversified experience, primarily in the areas of retail and consumer banking, including business and P&L management, branch banking, consumer finance, credit risk, alternative delivery channels management, while holding senior management positions with multinational organizations in Pakistan. So, some of his key career highlights where he has worked before, he has held multiple positions at the Royal Bank of Scotland as the acting CEO, as Senior Vice President of Regional Markets Asia, Consumer Business, and Head of Consumer Banking Pakistan. He has also been Head of Consumer Banking Pakistan and Indonesia at ABN AMRO Bank. He's been the Managing Director at our all-time favorite Pakistan Super League, director on the board of directors of Al Mizan Investment Management, board member at Pickwick Asset Management Company, group head NIB Bank, consultant and project manager PSL, and CEO and co-founder OPI Sports DMCC. So Mr. Salman has achieved a lot in his life, and he's been a coach and a mentor to me as well. So before I share anything further, I would like Mr. Salman to introduce himself. And I would also like to know, Salman Saab, that how does banking and sports, they fit in together in whatever you're doing right now? And where does your passion for sports come from?
Okay. Thank you, Ayesha, for having me on this program of yours. It's an honor and a delight. सबसे पहले तो थोड़ा बहुत आपने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है. मैं क्विकली बता दूं कि I've been a retail banker for nearly 20 years, and primarily with ABN AMRO and RBS. But before that, I was with Citibank for 3 years, and that was where I would say I learned a lot. Not to say that in the next 17 years I didn't learn. It was actually a wonderful experience of being part of building a business with a wonderful team. Uske baad, there came a phase in life where I had to decide, should I continue as an individual who works for an organization, or is there an opportunity to do other things? So, what I felt was the things that I was driven by more was to come out and assess what the banking industry needed, and especially the retail banking industry, and develop things to be able to work with them and assist the industry, and also learn at the same time. So that's what I've done from 2011 onwards primarily. अब दूसरा आपका जो सवाल है वो स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में है. Sports is been something that has been part of my my life since it was in my family. My cousin, by the way, played for Pakistan. A lot of people from my family have been linked to sports in one way or the other. So if I don't know if you remember, but ABN AMRO started sponsoring domestic cricket back in 2003, 4, and I was on the ABN AMRO side, and we worked with PCB. So I used to keep nudging them, okay, you need to do more. There's something more that a lot more that can be done with the sport, and bringing more corporate sponsorship involvement, and that will help the sport itself as well. So uh, उस वक्त तो इतना I guess they weren't ready, but when I started my consulting about 8-9 years later, then the PCBs basically came to us and said, we want to do something like the IPL. Can you help us? So we were delighted. We actually researched the IPL, the European Premier League, and then obviously um, built that product for them. And it's been an absolute honor and a privilege to work with the PCB and build something that has become an asset for the country.
That's true. Thank you so much, because PSL, everyone knows about it. It's on everybody's like tip of the tongue. So and I think very few people know that you're one of the key people behind the scenes. So coming to a topic today about present and the future of retail banking opportunities in Pakistan. So, one of the learning objectives was that banks can learn how they can grow their retail business in multiples. So, when you say that, what do you mean that you can grow the retail business in multiples, and how is that possible?
Okay. Very good question. And what I'm about to say, or what we're about to talk about, has been 20 years of being part of retail business, but more importantly, the next 10 years of working with various organizations in the retail banking space. So we worked with many of the 42 banks that are in Pakistan in the retail space. And not just banks, but there's a program that we do with branch managers. And that program has been primarily about how to build how a branch manager can build their business, retail business in their branch. And we've taken more than about 7 to 8,000 branch managers through this program across the banking landscape. तो वो करने से one's been able to see similar opportunities in various branches, but also we've worked with about 8-10 different banks in this space, and we've been able to see these opportunities. So with that background, I can tell you that when we look at banks and their retail banking portfolios, I'm going to throw some numbers, and I want to throw them in a very simple way so it doesn't confuse you and people later. Um, a big bank would have 8 to 10 million customers, retail customers. A mid-sized bank would have 5 million customers. Small bank would have maybe a couple of million to a million customers, maybe less. ये टोटल कस्टमर पोर्टफोलियो होता है एक एट एन एवरेज एक बड़े मीडियम साइज और छोटे बैंक में. जब हम इन कस्टमर पोर्टफोलियो को देखते हैं और हम वी लुक एट दिस एंड वी से ओके how many customers are actually contributing business to the bank's portfolio and or to the branch's portfolio, what we see is only 10% of the customers are contributing 90% of the business. Okay. And then we want to look at, okay, we have these branches and we have the branch managers and relationship managers all there.
Yeah.
How many customers are being relationship built? How many customers are being reached out? um, how many customers have their problems solved through proaction from the bank? And we find that only 1% of those customers in a bank or a branch are actually being reached out and being proactively relationship built. So 10% of the customers provide for 90% of the business. Only 1% are being relationship built. The rest of the 9% even are not being relationship built. That means that, Ayesha, nobody is reaching out to you and saying, okay, Ayesha, I'm your relationship manager. Let me discuss with you your needs and your financial needs. And I'm your financial doctor and I will get to know what your needs are. This is not a one time reach out. I will build a relationship with you and I will become the person who you come to and I will solve problems for you. ये हम नहीं करते,
That's true.
right?
That's
Even with
very.
9% of our customers, top 9% of our customers, we don't do this. Okay. And I'm talking generally, but this general can be very specific as well. I mean, if I pick up any branch in our industry,
Why do
I
you
will
think
find.
that this is the case? Why do we see a lack of this proactive approach?
Um, I think one of the things that I have seen in most banks is that everyone wants to go and get new customers, right?
Yes,
So
customer acquisition पे बहुत focus होता है.
कस्टमर एक्विजिशन पोर्टफोलियो, सो हर कोई कहता है, जिसको बैंकिंग टर्म में कहते हैं न्यू टू बैंक कस्टमर, एनटीबी पीपल पीपल से, तो वो एनटीबी के पीछे हम अपनी पूरी फौज को इतना लगा देते हैं कि जो हमारा एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर होता है
That's
उस,
neglected.
right, and we keep running to new customers, but when we make them our existing customers, when those customers become our existing customers, we forget about them, and then we start running to new customers as well. So what happens is that because of this, the existing customers are not properly serviced. When I say serviced, I mean all their needs are not identified, और उनको solutions नहीं दिए जाते, and therefore जब हम यही portfolios को उठा के बैंकों को कहते हैं, अच्छा, if we work on your top 10% customers, engage with them and sell products and services, where do you think we can take the bank to? When you start working on that, then you start seeing that the growth potential uh, is huge. Even just working with these top 10% customers, the growth potential is much bigger than what the banks are able to bring in with just new to bank customers, right? थोड़े से numbers भी मैं आपको इधर दे दूं. If you're running a branch, Ayesha, so, or if I'm running a branch, and if I'm running, say, a mid-sized branch or a small branch, I have about 2,000, 2,500 customers in my portfolio.
True.
Uh, I have from that about 250 customers that I can work with to build my business. Okay? What I start doing is I only work with the top 25 or 30 customers. I forget about the rest of the 225 customers and I start running towards new customers. Now, the new customers that I bring in a month, द वैल्यूबल कस्टमर्स, यानी कि इस तरह के जो 250 कस्टमर्स हैं, उस तरह के मैं नए कस्टमर्स एट एन एवरेज, एनी ब्रांच ब्रिंग्स इन अबाउट 2 to 5 न्यू कस्टमर्स. So in the entire year, I will bring in, similar to my 250 customers, about 30 to 40 customers. And my entire effort is focused on those, bringing in 30 to 40, whilst I ignore the 250 customers that are sitting in my portfolio. So मैं इसलिए कहता हूँ कि when you start looking at these 250 customers, you've got a much bigger portfolio to work with, and build a business. अच्छा, अब आप मुझसे पूछेंगी कि जी ये ठीक है, where is the empirical evidence for this?
Yeah.
So let me answer that as well for you. The empirical evidence for this is, there are banks, अब तो खैर numbers, हम सबको पता हैं और public भी हैं, तो I can share it. We started working with Mizan Bank, for example, about 4 years ago, and we saw a similar opportunity with them. And when we saw this opportunity, we said, listen, you can grow your business in multiples. Now, when growing your business in multiples, का मतलब ये है business volumes, revenues, and profits. So they were sitting at 5.5 billion rupees about 3-4 years ago, अगर आप उनके numbers उठा के देखेंगे. Today, they're sitting at 30 billion.
Wow. That's a
Right?
six-fold increase almost.
Exactly. So therefore I say, और ये कहाँ से आया? Bulk of this business has come from the branches, right? इसी तरह, if you look at today, if you look at Standard Chartered Bank, right? Standard Chartered Bank today is a very small bank per se. I mean, they've got only 65 to 75 branches. But if you look at their profitability, they're sitting at number 6, 7 amongst the 42 branches. ये कैसे करते हैं? ये वो इस तरह करते हैं कि they, on the retail side, they work with about, their top 10, 15, 20% customers, build relationships, and solve their problems. And therefore, they're able to build their revenues and their profitability. So, इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ, Aisha, that there is obviously a great opportunity to build business in multiples in Pakistan on the retail side.
And interestingly, although this looks like very rational and very logical, कि आपके जो existing customers हैं आप उनको पे focus करें so that you can grow your business and you don't lose them and you make the best use of that opportunity. But then uh, I think it's sort of or mindset और हम लोग एक it's more like a psychological trap जिसमें हम फंस जाते हैं, जिसमें हम existing customers को छोड़ के we are like नहीं ये नया customer acquire कर रहे हैं ये कर लें, and then we keep on forgetting what we already have. So thank you for like pointing it out. So on the basis of that, my next question to you is that what do CEOs and retail business heads need to do to identify and prepare themselves to capitalize on this opportunity? So what are the action items or the actionable steps that they can take in this regard?
Step one, CEOs need to realize that the bulk of their business is what comes from the branches. Individual customers and small businesses form 99% of their customer base. So if I'm the CEO of a bank, 99% of my customers are individual and small businesses. I need to realize that. My business is what comes from the branches. Number one. Number two, it's not just the realization. You need to educate yourself on how do I look at this business? What do I do with this business? How do I do that? I need to open up and analyze my retail portfolio. So, step two, open up your retail portfolios and get somebody to analyze. My recommendations for them is look at your top 10% customers and see how many products and services have been sold to your top 10% customers. Um, and then put a plan in place to engage with these top 10% customers. How do you do that? Step three, you've got relationship managers sitting in your branches. You need to uh, attach these customers with these relationship managers, hold them responsible to start building those relationships with those customers and build key KPIs. So KPIs bhi dena bahut zaruri hai to redesign KPIs. If I'm sitting as a relationship manager in a branch and if my KPI is go get new customers, तो आप मेरे साथ attach कर दें जितने customers आप चाहते हैं. I'm not going to start looking after them. I will keep running after new customers. But if you start to understand as CEO or retail bank head that listen, you know, Salman, you already have 150 customers attached to you. Build a relationship with them and you will do much more business. You need to redesign my KPI. Step four, put the right sort of MISs in place to track how much you are progressing from your new to bank customers and how much business are you bringing in from existing to bank customers, right? Step five, inspect what you expect. Become involved. The CEO, retail bank head to कर ही रहा होता है, but become involved in reviews of your retail bank business on a regular basis. When I say regular basis, I mean sit on a monthly basis with your retail bank head and your distribution and product guys and do a review of where we have reached against our KPIs and where can we move forward. So I think uh, in a nutshell, I'm actually asking the CEOs also to become a retail bank savvy by engaging themselves much more with the retail business and guiding them to be able to achieve these landmarks.
Uh, that sounds wonderful. But my like question here. So usually when you ask relationship managers to go out and build these relationships, most often I've noticed that they don't know how to do it
Mhm.
because this is not something which really comes naturally to a lot of people, especially in the banking sector. So उनको target मिल जाते हैं, KPI मिल जाता है कि ये चीज achieve करनी है, but the how part, the roadmap of it is missing for a lot of times, and it's not even communicated the way it should be. So what insights do you have to share in this regard, and how relationship managers can do a better job in getting new customers or building relationships with existing customers?
I think that's a wonderful question, Aisha. You hit the nail on the head. Um, मैं आपको सबसे पहले ये बताता जाऊं, मैंने कहा था रिलेशनशिप्स आर बिल्ट विद द टॉप 1%, 25-30 कस्टमर्स पर ब्रांच. ये रिलेशनशिप्स कौन बिल्ड करता है? ब्रांच मैनेजर. ब्रांच मैनेजर क्यों बिल्ड करता है? बिकॉज द ब्रांच मैनेजर हैज एक्सपीरियंस, हैज स्पेंट सो मेनी इयर्स इन द इंडस्ट्री, knows, has the confidence, over a period of time has also gained knowledge of products and services. So uh, therefore the branch manager can do this. अगले 225 कस्टमर्स के साथ रिलेशनशिप क्यों नहीं बिल्ड होती? वो इसलिए नहीं होती बिकॉज द रिलेशनशिप मैनेजर्स आर नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड.
Yeah.
Right? And therefore your question is absolutely valid. What do we do? My insight number one is, what we do is we don't train people. Right? Training and retraining and retraining and retraining in the retail business or in any business is a must. Your people must be skilled up. Right? Skills किन चीजों में होती हैं? So once you bring somebody in, before you start putting them in front of customers, you need to ensure that they are able to deal with those customers. So उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए? You need to have an onboarding process में and training process, जिसमें product का knowledge and skills, soft skills का knowledge, वो पहले देना बहुत जरूरी है लोगों को. Right? And it doesn't end there, by the way, because you can do your classroom trainings for as long as you want, but the training goes on for at least a year, and you need to actually nurture people through that. Because classroom training में तो मैं कुछ चीज समझ लूंगा, but when I get down on ground and I start talking to people and questions come my way or situations come in my way, if I am not being trained to handle those situations and those questions about products and services, or handling different situations, different sorts of customers, um, I will start losing business for you. And if I start losing business or losing opportunities, if I start losing business or opportunities, I become demotivated. When I become demotivated, obviously I will not be able to perform. But agar aap, if learning and development sides of the bank actually have a very clear process of onboarding and giving it that time, give that month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to train people, and then have a calendar in place or a process in place. अब आप branch में जा रहे हैं, तो XYZ, you must buddy up with this person, go on calls. In the branch also, please have regular process, product knowledge trainings going on, so that people become more aware of how to explain those things to customers. हमारा सबसे बड़ा एक अलमिया ये है कि लोगों में कॉन्फिडेंस इसलिए नहीं आता क्योंकि उनको अपने प्रोडक्ट्स और प्रोसेसेस के बारे में नहीं पता होता. And we throw them on the deep end and we expect them to learn as they swim. Some do, but some, when they're confronted with a customer, so Aisha, if you were confronted with an RM and you said, मुझे ये बताएं, वो बताएं, और वो कहता है जी मैम आप ठहर जाएं, मैं आपको वापस आके बताता हूँ, तो he's lost your confidence right away. Right? But if that individual can give you a solution, can listen to you, hear you out, give you a solution, that's the confidence building. That's how you will start trusting somebody, and that trust will help that individual get more business from you, and you give that business to that customer. So बहुत जरूरी है. So nail on head. Good question.
One thing that I have observed through interacting with different branches and different banks is that कभी कभार मुझे लगता है some banks are understaffed when it comes to people. So there are a lot of customers waiting there. They're trying to get their queries solved, and there are very few relationship managers out there to actually address, जिसकी वजह से overburden की वजह से they just want to get things done and get things out of the way. एक तो मेरी observation ये है, और दूसरी चीज मैंने जो observe किया वो ये है कि a lot of times I've noticed that these relationship managers, they lack soft skills. कि उनकी जो personality है or the way that they're interacting or the way that they're sitting, it comes across as too closed off, not open, that you wouldn't want to strike a conversation with them. You just want to go, आपने जो भी अपना काम कराना है, you just want to get get it done with, rather than open up and have a conversation about your financial futures and whatever you're planning. So we aapki baat, just reinstating whatever you were saying, that it's very very important to make sure that this investment in soft skills is not a short term objective of the banks, but something that they keep on doing until those relationship managers are there with them on board. So
I think एक I आपने एक चीज बड़ी अच्छी point out की, and you're throwing all these wonderful words which I'm picking up on, is investment. Um, Organizations have to start looking at training their people as investment. चाहे वो time हो, चाहे वो dollars or rupees spent हो, it's investment. And when you invest in your people, don't look at it as an expense. You start looking at it as an expense, you start making the wrong decisions. What you start saying is, oh, ab paise kam hai, budget kam hai, hum kar nahi sakte, XYZ. But when you start looking at, okay, here I've taken on this individual or individuals, and inke andar ab mujhko invest karna hai. Time bhi invest karna hai, और पैसे भी invest करने हैं to bring these individuals up the curve so that they can go and do business properly. One, two, आपने कहा कि लोग जो हैं वो बहुत short conversations करते हैं. उसकी एक वजह है, बिकॉज हमने रिलेशनशिप बिल्डिंग का केपीआई नहीं दिया हुआ लोगों को. हम
hmm.
लोगों को जो केपीआई देते हैं वो देते हैं प्रोडक्ट का, कि भाई इतनी गाड़ियां बेच दो, इतना डिपॉजिट ले आओ, इतनी इंश्योरेंस बेच दो, इतने क्रेडिट कार्ड बेच दो. तो वो आप मुझे अगर ये गोल देंगे तो मैं मार्केट में भी यही गोल ले जाऊंगा. फिर मैं आपके पास आऊंगा, आयशा आपने कार्ड खरीदना है, आपने गाड़ी लेनी है, आप डिपॉजिट दे दें मुझे. बट अगर आप मुझे गोल देंगे कि होल्ड ऑन, ये गोल्स तुम इस तरह से मीट करोगे जब तुम आयशा के साथ रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड करो, राइट?
Hmm.
बिकॉज आयशा हैज द नीड फॉर अ कार्ड and a and a depository account, etc. So then I start moving towards it. And why do you know why do I say that seniors have to start analyzing their business? It is because once they analyze their business, then they start to understand that if I get all my relationship managers to build relationships, even if I get them to build relationships with just 25 more customers, they will deliver for me much more business than if I'm giving them just a goal of going out and selling a product and not building a relationship. They're not saying don't build a relationship, but there is nowhere in there that
Yeah.
says, here is your 150 customers, go and build a relationship with the top 50 customers. And here is how you build a relationship, right? तो वो जब प्रोसेस हम शुरू करेंगे, और वो जब ही शुरू करेंगे जब ऊपर लोग बैठे हुए बिजनेस को एनालाइज कर लेंगे. और जिस तरह से मैंने आपको शुरू में बताया कि अगर मैं ऊपर बैठ के ये देख रहा हूं कि मेरे पास हर ब्रांच में 200-250 कस्टमर्स हैं जिनके साथ मैं रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड कर सकता हूं, that's a much bigger opportunity than bringing in 30 new customers every year and trying to build business from there.
Indeed, indeed. Uh, and I really hope that after listening to what Salman Sahab has to say, and after listening to this dialogue, people who are, or audience especially, who are listening to this, who are in the banking sector, jinka goal hai to develop relationships and bring new customers on board, I really hope they take some listening points from this conversation. Uh, Going on to my next question, what does customer engagement mean, and while growing business, how do you propose that banks engage with customers?
Okay, that's a very good question also, Aisha. And let me ask you, if I ask you, how would you feel engaged with your bank? Uh, what is it that the bank needs to do with you for you to feel that you as a customer, this is your bank, this is my bank, this is where I get my financial needs met, and I will always give them more of my business and I will refer people to them. Bank ko kya karna chahiye for them to be able to get you to feel like that?
Proactive approach first of all. So if I feel that I can easily talk to the relationship manager or the person, and he gets my work done on time, and I really don't have to push for it, या मुझे बहुत बार फोन नहीं करना पड़ता है, और बंदा खुद मुझे फोन करके बोलता है मैम आपका काम हो गया है, ये टाइम पे हो गया है, कोई मुझे इशू है, मुझे ज्यादा लाइन में ना लगना पड़े, बस मैं जाऊँ and I have this conversation, या मैं एक से फोन करूँ, मुझे जाने की भी जरूरत ना पड़े. So you know, the ease and convenience, especially for people who have really busy lives, so we are really looking for that. And we need to know that there is someone out there that we can trust, we can count on. और हमारे पास जो भी सवाल हो, अगर मुझे कार लेनी है फाइनेंसिंग पे, all I need to do is just like pick up a call and I know this is my person sitting there, और मुझे जो भी information चाहिए मुझे accurately बता देगा, processing में डाल देगा. So I need to have that level of comfort and that level of confidence and trust. And I think that comes from the bank actually making a proactive effort to connect with me when I visit the bank. I think that's where it potentially starts off. So that's my 2 cents on it.
There you go. That's the answer. Customer engagement simply is exactly that. What customers are looking for is a relationship of trust and understanding, and they're looking for a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a personalized relationship. ये है जो customer, आप भी यही चाह रही हैं कि somebody who is my relationship manager, who I can reach out to, or who reaches out to me proactively, tells me that I am here always for you, not just says that once a year and disappears, but continues to reach out to me. Whenever I call them, they're always available. And they always solve my problem. So one-stop shop, they always solve my problem in a hassle-free, timely manner. And they understand what I need, be it a problem being solved, or be it a new product that I want. They understand me because they understand my financial status. They understand me as a person, and they can design the right things for me and give me the right solution. तो कस्टमर एंगेजमेंट का मतलब एक ही है. अच्छा, हम कस्टमर एंगेजमेंट को फिर न्यूमेरिकली किस तरह से देखते हैं? जब आप ये सारी चीजें कर रहे हो ना, तो जो एंगेज कस्टमर है उसको उसकी एक हम चीज देखते हैं कि हाउ मेनी प्रोडक्ट्स इज दिस कस्टमर बाइंग फ्रॉम द बैंक, राइट? सो इफ द कस्टमर इज बाइंग, बाय द वे मैं आपको ये भी बता दूं कि हर बैंक में टुडे if you start listing down, sit with a branch manager and say आपके पास कितने products हैं जो आप बेचते हैं, तो I'll tell you, you will list down at least 25 to 30 products that the branch has available to them to sell, right? If I only take the top 10% जिनकी हम पहले बात कर रहे थे, और ये देखें कि उन्होंने कितने products खरीदे हुए हैं, which they're actively using, it's 1 to 1.5. Can you believe it? 1 to 1.5. When we look at needs of customers, there are 4 types of needs. आप अगर बैंक से अपनी नीड्स पूरी करने चाहती हैं, आपकी 4 नीड्स हैं. Transactional, you want to deposit money, withdraw money, transfer money, pay payroll, receive money from vendors, pay retailers, whatever, these sorts of, this is transactional solution. आपको ये transactional solution चाहिए with ease. So alternative delivery channels आपको चाहिए, मोबाइल बैंकिंग चाहिए, पेरोल सोल्यूशन चाहिए, कैश मैनेजमेंट चाहिए. एक ये नीड है आपकी. दूसरी आपकी नीड है बोरोइंग की. अगर आप बिजनेस हैं तो आपको बोरोइंग चाहिए, इंडिविजुअल है तो आपको क्रेडिट कार्ड, पर्सनल लोन, ऑटो लोन, मॉर्गेज, इस तरह की चीजें चाहिए. फिर आपकी तीसरी नीड है सेविंग की. अगर आप बिजनेस हैं तो आपके पास पैसे पड़े, इंडिविजुअल है तो आपके पास पैसे हैं. तो ये सेविंग्स में आप वेरियस प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, म्यूचुअल फंड्स हैं, डिपॉजिट अकाउंट्स हैं, इस तरह के इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट्स हैं. इंश्योरेंस तो खैर प्रोटेक्शन में भी आ जाता है. तो इस तरह की चीजें बैंक के पास हैं जो आपको देते हैं. चौथी आपकी नीड है प्रोटेक्शन की. उसके लिए लॉकर्स हैं. आप बैंक में अकाउंट ही इसलिए खोलते हैं बिकॉज आपको आपके पैसे को प्रोटेक्शन मिलती है. एंड इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोज को आप इंश्योर करते हैं थ्रू दीज प्रोडक्ट्स. सो ये चीजें जो हैं, ये 4 तरह की आपकी नीड्स हैं. वी मेजर that for an engaged customer, generally all these 4 needs are met. So when we look at एक हम रेशियो कैलकुलेट करते हैं प्रोडक्ट पर कस्टमर. अगर ये प्रोडक्ट पर कस्टमर 4 या 5 या इससे ज्यादा है, so we generally will find that those customers are more engaged with the bank, engaged to the and at times to the height of loyalty. And why am I saying that? हम एक चीज जो सर्वे करके कैलकुलेट करते हैं वो ये है, कस्टमर लॉयल्टी क्या है. तो हम 3 सवाल आपसे पूछते हैं. आयशा, विल यू गिव मी मोर ऑफ योर बिजनेस? हाउ मच यू लाइक माय बैंक? विल यू रेफर somebody? If you rate me the highest in these 3 categories, you are loyal. Okay, when I start, if you are loyal and I generally go back and I start looking at how many products you've utilized, you generally would have utilized 4 to 5 products from my bank. That is why you are loyal, because somebody is reaching out to you, solving your problem, becoming a one-stop shop, and doing all these things for you. So up, you start liking the bank, you start engaging with the bank, and you start becoming loyal to the bank. This is customer engagement. Solving problems in a proactive manner, these taking care of all these 4 needs in a proactive manner. Once you do that, and being the one-stop shop and providing personalized service. Once you do that, that's what engages customers. And an engaged customer will have generally 4 to 5 products that they're utilizing, and they will be loyal to the bank. That is, they will be giving more of their own business and referring business to the bank.
Great, great. My A question that stems from what you just said is that apart from a lack of skills or deficient skills, what other reasons are there which stops or prevents relationship managers from taking the proactive approach? So एक तो है कि चलो उनको relationship बनाना नहीं आता, but sometimes उनको बनाना आता है yet they still don't do it. So what factors are responsible for that?
Well, I strongly believe in inspect what you expect. So if I'm working for you, Aisha, and if you want me to build relationships, and आपने मुझे एक दफा गोल दे दिया, उसके बाद मुझे पूछा नहीं, 6 महीने के बाद आके पूछा, तो you've left me, and I will continue to do whatever my instincts and whichever way my psyche is built, right? If I'm somebody who feels that I can, get this done through a shortcut, then I will go and do it through a shortcut, right? इंसान है ना, तो हम we want to, we want to take the shortest route to our goal, right? And aksar, the shortest route is not the best route, by the way, right? The shortest route could be, for example, if I'm an RM, it could be, okay, मेरे ये top 5 customers हैं, मैं इन्हीं से engagement करता हूँ, और मेरे goals जब नहीं meet हो रहे होंगे, मैं इनके पास चला जाऊंगा, मैं इनको कहूंगा मुझे प्लीज ये प्रोडक्ट मुझसे ले लें ना लें. अगर मैं ये करूंगा तो मैं कहीं ना कहीं जाके फंस जाऊं, because beyond those, how long will these 5 or 10 customers take care of my KPIs? I'll have to go to the next 5, next 10, next 15. तो वो मैं generally नहीं करता, because that takes an effort from me to do that. Number one. दूसरी चीज ये है कि हमने भी we've got relationship managers, we've tagged them portfolios, we've put them into the branch, because we're not training them properly, and because we're not driving them in that way that we are asking them to build relationships. तो वो branch में ही रहते हैं. It's very comfortable for me as a relationship manager to sit on my table in front of a laptop, in an air-conditioned environment, and just service people as they come in, right? So मैं proaction नहीं करता, तो मैं बैठ जाता हूँ वहां पे. And I've seen that a lot of relationship managers make this as an excuse कि जी मैं तो ब्रांच में ही मुझे इतना टाइम लग जाता है, मैं बाहर नहीं निकल सकता, right? And therefore they don't build that relationship with new people. So the idea is to get them off their seat and say, you only spend 30% of your time on this seat. We want 50, 60, 70% of your time to go out and meet your customers. So the bank has to, my view is, Aisha, here, that the bank has to make more of an effort to create the KPIs, to create the activity goals, to drive that SOP that drives a culture. वो नहीं करेंगे तो most people will just come into their comfort zone, sit in front of the computer in the branch, and basically say, and just deal with their top 5, 10 customers and say, well, this is. And by the way, when they deal with their top 5, 10 customers and you go to them and you say, business और क्यों नहीं आ रहा, they'll say कि जी saturate हो गई है market. वो सैचुरेट मार्केट क्या हो जाती है कि वो मेरे 10-15 कस्टमर सैचुरेट हो गए. So
हाँ,
nobody is asking them the question, or maybe they are, but nobody is really going after कि ये जो बाकी 100 कस्टमर हैं इनका क्या बन रहा है,
ट्रू,
right?
ट्रू, ट्रू.
So that's, in my view, that's the reason why these relationship managers are not. Um, दूसरी चीज ये है कि the vision, senior management needs to engage with these people in a meaningful way. Okay, you can come to a branch, you can pat people on their back and say, good work done, give a certificate here and give a certificate there, have your town halls. That's great. But how many times are you actually sitting with these people who are engaging with customers and saying, okay, this is where I want to take the bank.
Hmm.
And here is the direction. And then sitting with them again on a regular basis and say, listen, this is where we have come to. This is where we wanted to go, and this is where we have come to. And these are the things that we need to do to get here. And you need to do this, and you guys need to do this. ये engagement जो है ये बहुत जरूरी है with the larger population that is engaging with customers. ये जब तक engagement on an ongoing basis नहीं होगी, I'm not talking about in a less planned way. I'm talking about in a planned way. Why isn't, say, a retail head or the CEO engaging with their larger crowd on a monthly basis to start with, and giving them updates against direction, right? That kind of helps people to move forward and sink in to the direction of the bank. ये engagement देने के बाद, then I say inspect what you expect.
एंड engagement के साथ साथ इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू एक्चुअली क्लीन बॉटम डाउन इनसाइड. सो जब तक आप लोगों के साथ बैठेंगे नहीं, उनसे पूछेंगे नहीं कि मसले क्या आ रहे हैं, व्हेन यू अप्रोच द कस्टमर्स व्हाट डू दे से, व्हाई आर दे रिफ्यूजिंग टू वर्क विद अस. तो जब तक आप वो डायलॉग नहीं करेंगे with people who are actually on the front line, so no matter what vision or strategy that you're crafting in your glass office, it's not
हाँ.
exactly going to be effective. Because ये चीज हमने बहुत नोट की है कि क्योंकि हायरार्की यूजुअली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में इतनी ज्यादा होती है और बैंक्स का नेटवर्क इतना वास्ट होता है कि द सीनियर मैनेजमेंट एंड्स अप क्राफ्टिंग देयर फैंसी स्ट्रेटजीज इन देयर ग्लास डोर्स विदाउट hardly any insight के नीचे हो क्या रहा है, what are the ground realities, and where do the problems really lie. And I believe with all of this innovation in like technology and data analytics, up to you can have like all these customer dashboards in which you can actually have real time tracking कि आपका जो customer profile है, who is this person, इसके क्या demographics है, इसमें क्या potential है for this person to actually grow into a lifetime customer. So with the help of technology, I think a lot can be done if actually a thoughtful and a proactive approach is taken.
Key is actually proactive approach. तो pro action जो है वो RM to customer सिर्फ होना जरूरी नहीं है. Pro action जो है वो senior management to all levels of the next management होना भी बहुत जरूरी है. ग्रामीण बैंक जो मोहम्मद यूनुस साहब जो चला, उन्होंने एक लफ्ज बड़ा अच्छा कहा था. उन्होंने कहा, for me to realize how to run this bank, I had to operate at worm level. Right? Worm जो है वो जमीन पे रेंगता है. तो here is somebody who became then the leader of such an organization. But he said, what I learned was starting to operate at worm level. So I understood the ecosystem around me. And then I started working on solutions. So I'm not saying, people are, for various reasons, people get stuck in their glass offices, etc. But I think we need to introduce the fact that 50 to 60% of your time needs to be spent uh, in a very structured, effective way in managing these branches and people who are in these branches. And you need to jot down the things that you do to engage with these people, to bring them up the curve, and to get them to do what you're doing. What you सिर्फ अल्फाजों के इस्तेमाल से नहीं होता है, right? You have to have detailed processes for everything, right? How to's for everything. And then you need to ensure that your organization is delivering for them. एक और चीज मैं आपको इधर कहूँगा कि मैं generally recommend करता हूँ to senior management. to put together a senior management business development team at the head office level. तो वहां पे उसमें सीईओ भी हो, रिटेल हेड भी हो, ऑपरेशनल हेड हो, प्रोडक्ट्स के हेड्स हो, सर्विस डिलीवरी का हेड हो, जिनका काम ये नहीं हो कि वो ये देखें कि गलतियां कहाँ हो रही, या वो ये देखें कि हाउ कैन वी actually get people to deliver on what we have given them. So how can we get people to deliver on their KPIs? How can we help them? What are the issues that they're having with the organization? Operations में कोई issue है, product में कोई issue है, trainings में कोई issue है, capacitization में कोई issue है. This team needs to have its eyes and ears open, discuss these things on a regular basis, look at किन ब्रांचेस में, किन रीजन्स में, किस एरियाज में क्या इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, किस तरह के कस्टमर्स हैं, प्रोडक्ट ट्वीकिंग चाहिए, प्रोसेस ट्वीकिंग चाहिए, इसको थरली डिस्कस करें और फिर उन चीजों को रिजॉल्व करें प्रोएक्टिवली और अपनी अपने ब्रांचेस को एनेबल करें टू बी एबल टू डिलीवर. ये काम ऊपर बैठ के, अगर ऊपर बैठ के कोई काम करना है तो ये काम बहुत जरूरी है. And this I generally advise CEOs and retail heads to do.
And that sounds like a wonderful suggestion. Are there any banks who have like implemented this so far, or who have this kind of a setup which does that in Pakistan locally?
अभी तक मैंने इस तरह से नहीं देखा. रिटेल
Or
हेड होते
profit?
हैं, बट रिटेल हेड के अंडर जो है वो सब कुछ नहीं होता ना. रिटेल हेड के अंदर ऑपरेशंस नहीं होता, आईटी नहीं होता, कंप्लायंस नहीं होता, वेरियस प्रोडक्ट्स दैट आर बीइंग ऑफर्ड, लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट नहीं होता, एचआर नहीं होता. तो इनको सीईओ के अंडर होते हैं. So the CEO needs to become part of this and assist the retail business and the retail head through this team to be able to deliver. So yes, I haven't seen these. I mean, I've seen Alcos, I've seen Excos, I've seen Mancoms and these sorts of things, but I have not seen a team built of senior management that cuts across various services provided through the branch, that actually has one agenda. How can we enable our branches to be able to deliver for our customers what they need to deliver?
And I think that can also be the key takeaway of this entire conversation, because if put into practice, I believe that this is a brilliant idea. Iski bas implementation ki bas der hai, or but if put into practice, it can like work wonders in the banking network.
I call it, Aisha, I call it the B3 SMT.
Okay, the B3
Branch Banking
SMT.
Business Senior Management Team.
That's a great acronym. That's a great way of remembering it. So, my last question to you would be that what are your 2 cents on the learning and development function in banks? How can they do their job when it comes to skill building differently, so that our banking professionals don't face the problems that they're facing currently?
Okay, I have basically just one big thing to add here. I personally feel that HR functions in banks and L&D functions in banks must, um, you know, must have effective business partners in their setups for the business. So वो क्या है effective? Effective का मतलब ये है कि अगर HR में या L&D में कोई सपोर्ट कर रहा है रिटेल बिजनेस को, तो वो टीम या वो इंडिविजुअल, आई वुड जनरली से रिटेल इतना बड़ा बिजनेस है जिसमें एक टीम होनी चाहिए, they should be armed with people who actually understand the business, ideally from the business, right? So there should be a very proactive way of looking at, okay, who can I take from the business and bring into the L&D team or HR team, who's been in the business for X number of years. And this person doesn't have to be a junior person. This person should maybe a senior person who understands the business and then is brought in, understands the business, and is able to provide them with the right sort of learning and development, and human resource capabilities that is required by the bank. Why do I say that? I say that because, generally speaking, when I interact with organizations, I find that the L&D functions lack the confidence or even lack at times lack the know-how of the business to be able to select the right sort of things, or make a calendar that entails the right sort of things that enables the business to be able to deliver what they have to deliver. तो ऐसे लोग लें, business से लें और L&D functions में डालें, business से लें और HR functions में डालें, जो कि फिर वो business partners बने और effective business partners हों.
I believe that's a great suggestion because L&D और business में अमूमन disconnect आ रहा होता है. L&D has its own take on how to upskill people. The business wants something very different, and often a lot of times even I have experienced in my conversations in the banking sector okay, there's a disconnect between the business needs and the objectives of the L&D department. And एक और चीज जो मेरी एक ऑब्जर्वेशन है वो ये है कि once you are equipping a certain people with certain skills, एक batch है आपके पास, instead of changing the learning and development professionals or the trainers, you just assign one person who takes this entire batch of personnel along the way and equips them with the skills. Because जब एक ही टीम को आप 5-6 लोगों से ट्रेन कराओगे जिनके 5-6 different mindsets होंगे on the same topic, so they're likely to get confused, and there needs to be a continuity in whatever skill that you're trying to build. So for example, if it's a competency, let's say listening skills build करनी है, तो अगर listening skill एक बंदे से आप train करा रहे हो, तो then you take that person along the way until the objective is achieved, rather than having 6-7 people teach the same skill and the participants getting all confused. So I believe that continuity and that emphasis on longer term assignments is very important, which I think L&D should be looking at as well in the
Yes,
banking
yes.
sector.
I mean, I think, my company does we do workshops with organizations, and we do programs, and generally we tell them that we are short-term interventions are not going to get you results.
Yeah.
If you want, you need look at this as an investment, and you need to look at this as an intervention. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि इस पे आपको ROI आए, so then you need to invest time just as much as the people who are doing it are investing time, and look at it as an intervention for a period of time. तो हम generally जब engage करते हैं तो हम कहते हैं nothing less than a year of intervention will start showing you some sort of results of where you want to go. So I completely agree with you.
So yeah, I think that's one learning takeaway for the L&D functions in banks. So concluding and taking the discussion forward, Salman sir, would you like to add a few ending remarks before we end this conversation? And are there any lessons from your work at PSL, from you developing, working as a coach, some lessons that you can also apply to the banking sector as well?
Let me just say one thing, and maybe the people in the banking sector will understand this. Um, we are focusing on NTB, new to bank customers, at the cost of not focusing on ETB, existing to bank customers. Please look at your existing to bank customers. That's where your bigger opportunity is. The opportunity there is 3 to 4 times more than your NTB opportunity. So you need to start focusing on that, and you need to start looking at that eventually becoming your driver of growth. Number 2, that can only be done if you relationship build with these customers. The relationship building can only be done if you have quality relationship managers. So the process of onboarding, training, and nurturing is extremely important. And number 4, if I may, is that everyone, including the mancom, needs to be completely engaged in enabling these their branches to do well, rather than following up with them on an ongoing basis and asking them for how much business was brought in today. Another stream that needs to open up of engagement is how can we enable you to be able to meet your goals, and engage customers in an ongoing basis. The मैं जनरली लोगों को ये कहता हूं कि वो बैंक जिसका आरएम चलता है वो बैंक आगे निकल जाएगा. जिस बैंक का मैं बीएम की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं आरएम की बात कर रहा हूं. जिसका आरएम चलता है का मतलब ये है कि वो बैंक जिसका आरएम चलता है उसका मतलब ये है कि एक ब्रांच में 2 से 3 अगर आरएम है या एक है या 2 आरएम है, दे आर एंगेजिंग अनदर 20 to 30 कस्टमर्स ओवर एंड अबव द ब्रांच मैनेजर्स 25 कस्टमर्स. तो आरएम को चलाएं एंड इस तरह से चलाएं कि वो आपके कस्टमर्स को एंगेज करे और उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करे. दैट्स हाउ यू विल बी एबल टू achieve the multiplier effect that I keep talking about. ETB, RM, relationship building.
Okay, thank you so much, Salman Sarwar Bhatt साहब. बहुत मजा आया आपके साथ ये कॉन्वर्सेशन करके. It's been a great learning experience for me as well, knowing about the nitty-gritty of retail banking and all the problems which can be solved. It's not that they're unsolvable, and the solution items, because typically हम लोग problems पे बात कर लेते हैं, but it's very rare to actually hear actionable solutions or actionable takeaways जिसपे people can actually implement and solve those problems. So thank you so much. And for our audience, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to email us at info@sethlearning.com. So we'll respond to your questions. And Salman साहब, अगर आपने भी अपने email address share करना है, तो please you can just say it, and if anyone's listening, they can like take a note of it.
मेरा जो ईमेल है वो है salman.butt@gpi.org.pk. And if you go to www.gpi.org.pk, you can leave your questions in our website there, and we'll respond to you from there as well.
Great. And we'll also be sharing Salman Saab's email in our post as well. So thank you everyone for listening, and hope you're having a blessed Ramzan. And with that, we'll end today. Thank you so much, Salman Saab, for coming. Inshallah, we'll be connecting soon.
Inshallah, thank you very much.
Take care, everyone. Allah Hafiz.